Hi guys, it's Yamra coming back at you with another video. Welcome back to my channel. Let's go ahead and start our new conversation this month. So we're going to be doing a series, and during the series I'm going to be mentioning concepts that you probably haven't heard of, or concepts that you may be wondering about. So I want to bring some of these concepts to the forefront, explain them, talk about them, and just kind of give us a break from the heavy mental work of relationships and parenting and personality disorders. So let's go ahead and jump right on in. I'm going to talk about something that a lot of my clients benefit from, but something that other people struggle with, and that is boundaries when it comes to therapists. So what I'm going to be talking about over the course of the next two videos, this video and a video on Friday, is unethical therapists and what to look for. Okay, so in this video, I want to point out one thing, and that is touch and hugs. Should you touch or hug your therapist, and should your therapist touch and hug you? That's a question that a lot of my clients have struggled with in the past, but it's something that they don't have a problem with me. Like, it's not something that my clients have struggled with. Like, my clients and I have such a relationship that, you know, if my female client had a really bad session and she's having flashbacks and PTSD and she's emotional and crying, she will reach out to me and hug me, and I will hug her back in return. If I have a child or an adolescent in my office and they're struggling with something, or if we're at the end of the session and they don't want to leave, they will initiate a hug, or I will initiate physical touch as well. Now, it gets a little bit trickier when it comes to guys, because I don't initiate physical touch when it comes to men. If men initiate physical touch with me, then I question why. And I also try to grapple with the idea that maybe the touch is not sexual or not intimate, but rather it's just, you know, friendly gratitude being expressed through touch. So there's a lot of boundaries and a lot of issues that can happen in therapy. And so in this video, I just want to point out some reasons why I think physical touch can be very helpful in counseling, and why I think a therapist should consider it. But let me just throw out there really briefly that any touch that is sexualized by a client or therapist should never occur in therapy. In fact, that's an ethical code violation. Now, the definition of sexualized touch can be very different as well, because maybe one person considers it sexualized touch, while another person considers it friendly touch. So, you know, it really is a complicated situation, and something that we mental health providers have struggled with for years in this field. And that's one of the reasons why there's an ethics code and there's board regulations, because some of these things are not black and white. They're so very gray. So the benefits for you in this video are obvious, right? We're going to start talking about some concepts regarding physical touch and boundaries. And then for the next few videos, we're going to talk about other concepts like groupthink and the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it's slipping my mind. It's a condition. Oh well, I'll bring it up next video, but we're going to be talking about a lot of different things that I think you guys are going to be interested in, so stay tuned for that. But right now, let's go ahead and just jump into the reasons why I think physical touch should occur in therapy. So I have my note here like always, and I'm going to walk you guys through and explain it in a practical way, okay? So one of the reasons why I think we should allow touch in psychotherapy, hugs, pat on the arm, right, handshake, is because we're human and we value human connection. The counseling and psychotherapy relationship is about relationship, right? It's about connection. If we don't reach out and initiate physical touch, or if we don't reach out and allow a client to hug us or touch us or shake our hand, you know, it almost puts us up on a level of superiority that we don't need to be on. Something that can communicate to that client that we think we're better, or that we don't value them, or we don't value their feelings. Not initiating or allowing physical touch also with certain clients can come across as overly protective, and some therapists or researchers in the field suggest that not allowing or initiating physical touch at all could be unethical. Why? Because our whole goal in psychotherapy is to benefit you and to support you and to provide what's best for you. And so if a hug at the end of a difficult traumatic session is what you need, or something that would benefit you, why not? Now, therapists need to consider, though, what is the reason for this initiation of touch and the need for a hug, right? Again, is this sexualized or is this friendly? Is this motherly or fatherly? Is this, so therapists have to constantly decide whether or not they're comfortable with the initiation of physical touch. But once the boundary line is clear and we as the professionals know what you're looking for, we should make up our mind as to whether or not we're going to allow it or not allow it. Aside from that, I still believe that physical touch can be powerful. We are human. We look for connection to other humans, and it can cement the psychotherapeutic relationship. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is that we're relational beings, and sometimes our only way of communicating what we're truly feeling and thinking is through touch. Things that can't be communicated through words can be communicated through touch. I'll give you guys an example. So I had a client about 5 months ago, and she's no longer my client because she moved out of state. But 5 months ago, we had a terrible session, she and I. And the session was so emotionally draining for her. And the fact that it was terrible didn't revolve around my skill set or her resistance. It revolved around psychotic symptoms and symptoms that got in the way of our communication. And so hearing and seeing things and believing things that are not true and fearing that one is being chased by the FBI and the police and hiding from the windows in my office and hiding under the desk and wanting a teddy bear to hold to console her, just kind of losing all conceptualization of her adulthood. All of those things were a barrier. It was an awful traumatic session for her just because what she was reliving was so emotionally draining that we had to end it in a trip to the hospital, what we call a 201, which is signing someone into the hospital. So that particular session showed me something, and I realized that nothing I said, nothing I did, and nothing I verbalized or validated consoled her necessarily. The only thing that seemed to console her in her psychotic state was me sitting on the floor with her as she rocked back and forth holding a teddy bear and holding her hand and touching her arm and letting her know that I'm here with you. No matter what your mind is telling you, no matter what your heart is telling you, I am here with you. And so that was powerful for her. It was also powerful for me. And interestingly, it seemed like it slowly brought her back out into reality, that her state of psychosis kind of lessened because of the physical touch. Now, someone might argue, how do you know that's true? Well, I can tell you that an emotionally escalated person who's way up here and can hardly concentrate, is fearful, having flashbacks, is crying, hyperventilating. The moment I touch you and reach out to you and say, grab my hand, I'm here to help you, and slowly comes down to a level where they can communicate and they are relaxed and they are calmer, that is the power of touch. To me, it was something about my relation to her as a human being had such a powerful influence on her that I'll never forget it. And I don't think she'll ever forget it also. After she was released from the hospital the next day, the first thing she said to me was, Tamara, thank you so much for holding my hand and being there with me through it all, and for hugging me at the end. She said, I could literally feel my body release the tension when I hugged you at the end. So it's powerful, it's wonderful, and I've had that same reaction from kids and from teens in the past as well. So what's my point? That we are relational, that we communicate with emotion, we communicate with physical touch, and without that, we may actually cause therapeutic failure. All right, the third thing is we have to use our intuition when it comes to touch, right? So we want to be able to get next to a person, sit next to a person, stand next to them, or talk to them, and get the internal intuitive sense that it's okay to touch them, and vice versa. If you're feeling all your alarm bells go off because your therapist is initiating touch and you're like, no, don't touch me, or vice versa, stop, right? Because something's either wrong with that interaction, or there's something unresolved in you that is creating that discomfort and a sense of alarm. So we have to use our intuition. Our intuition tells us a lot about whether or not to initiate touch or receive it, and we need to go by that. The next one is touch is cultural and spiritual. My culture is African American and Indian, part German, and so my family, not the German side, but my family side, my dad's side of the family, and some of my mom's side as well, they're very touchy-feely, loving, compassionate people, and we believe that hugs signify love and compassion. We also believe that hugs kind of put you on a common ground. It's humility being expressed, but it's also connection being expressed in a positive way, right? So we hug when we're happy, we hug when we're sad, we hug when we're angry, like, you know, to like once we cool down. Hugs are very cultural. Hugs are also representative of our culture as well. It's also representative of our spirituality. So the Christianity part of our lives, the Christian part of our lives, encourages us to reach out and hug and utilize touch as a powerful way to heal and connect. So we have to keep in mind that touch is spiritual and cultural. And if somebody wants to initiate or receive that, we have to consider, you know, is this cultural for this person? Is this spiritual? And if it is, where do I find my comfort zone in this, right? As the client, you want to ask yourself, is my therapist comfortable with this? Because maybe their cultural expectations are way different than mine, or vice versa, right? So we have to consider that touch and hugs are definitely cultural and spiritual. The next thing is that we need to develop a balanced view. Okay, we need to develop a balanced view as clients and therapists of touch and hugs, right? As I stated in this entire video, it's relational, it's cultural, it's spiritual, it's emotional, it's intuitive. We have to develop a balanced view. What's appropriate, what's not appropriate, based on the client's needs, based on the issue that the client is coming into therapy to deal with, based on the therapist's professional views and lifestyle and beliefs, and also based on trauma history, because sometimes a therapist has a trauma history as well, and sometimes a client has a huge trauma history. So we have to watch touch when it comes to that. But just being open-minded and mindful that touch is not just simple touch, that there's a lot that is attached to touch and hugs, and we have to be willing to grapple with that in psychotherapy. All right, guys, thanks so much for being with me today. To talk about this first topic, we're going to jump into a new topic on Friday, and then we're going to jump in next week, and we're going to be talking about some pretty cool stuff, so stay tuned for that. I encourage you to hit the subscribe button if you want to stick around for those videos. If you're not already subscribed, if you are, thank you so much. And I also encourage you to give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful for you. That helps these videos get to the top of the search results in YouTube, and it allows other people access to these videos. You guys have been doing such a great job as far as sharing these videos, hitting the like button, the subscribe button, you know, doing things to kind of share these videos with other people. And I just want to say that I'm grateful to you guys for doing that. I enjoy doing this. And if this is helpful to you, let me know in the comment section below, and we'll keep these kind of topics going. If you have a suggestion for me, or a question, or a topic that you'd like me to focus on in a video, let me know, and I certainly will consider it. All right, guys, I'll see you pretty soon. Hang in there, and I'll see you in 2 days. Bye.